let's go ahead and create ourselves a morph interface. So in order to do that, I'm actually going to re-import our mesh from DAZ Studio with some new morphs attached, okay? So I just want to take note of what morphs I'm currently dealing with and include those as well as new ones, all right? So here I am inside of DAZ Studio. Send to DAZ to Unreal. And I have all of those morphs that were there last time. And I've added 2 new ones. So go ahead and click Accept. I am keeping the name the same. All right, so the file's been updated. If we double click the skeletal mesh, you'll see that we have our new morph targets. And this is what we'll be using for our morph interface. Okay, very good. Now, everything still is the same because all we did is update our skeletal mesh. So if we enter the gameplay, everything's still working. Our original morphs are still there. So now we can move forward with building our interface. All right, the first thing that we're going to want to do is create what's called a widget. So right click, user interface, widget blueprint. And we're going to call this the morph editor widget. All right, just go ahead and double click and open that up. And now we're going to create a scroll box. So just type in scroll, and then you can see it right there. Just drag it on over. And now you're going to type in scale, and that'll create a scale box. So the scroll box is where we're going to be putting our dials and stuff, okay? And then the scale, actually, the scroll box does not size itself too well, so the scale helps to kind of control that a little bit. So we'll be able to kind of have our morph editor a little bit more tidy. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is actually add some text. And then over here in the right-hand panel, you have a bunch of adjustments. So go ahead and have at it. I'm going to give myself some room at the top. And then we are going to name this. All right, and let's see here. All right, so let's increase the font size. So come over here to font. Make it whatever you think. Making mine nice and big. And then, so that's going to tell us what's going on. What is this crazy thing? Well, it's this right here. So let's go ahead and now let's create a slider. And again, I'm going to give it some padding along the top. We're also going to give padding on the right. So we'll be bringing the slider over a little bit. Let's, how about half that? There we go, that works. And then we can make our slider a little thicker. So if you come on down, to style, you can make that as thick as you wish. And then what we're going to do is change the slider color handle. Slider handle color. All right, there we go. And then let's give this thing a little padding on the left as well, so we won't be butting up against our scroll box, okay? And now let's make another text, which is going to be telling us what this slider is. And this is going to be for our first morph. And what we want to do is name this slider as well. So click on it, and up in here in the details, just put excitement slider. Okay, so we're going to have, the reason why is because we're going to have other sliders that we're going to be messing with. So we want to be able to differentiate between them. Let's see. Let's make this 35. I think that looks pretty good. All right, now we've done all this inside the designer. So now we're going to hop on over to the graph. And you can see our slider excitement right here. So click on that, and we're going to create an event dispatcher. Okay, so this is going to be our morph underscore event. And then we're going to come down here, a new parameter, and we're going to create a float. All right, and then on our slider, we're going to do an on value change. And we're going to come off this, and we're going to do an excitement, call excitement event. Hook up the green. And let's just dock this over to the side. Let's do a compile and a save. All right, now that takes care of the morph editor widget just for the time being. Now we need to get back into our third person. So I just grabbed all of the morph calls that we did previously and just deleted them, okay? So what we're going to do now is call up that widget. And how we're going to do that is through pressing a button on our keyboard. So we're going to right click and call for a keyboard event, and we're going to do a 0. And from here, we are going to create our widget. And what that is going to do is when we do that, we're going to add that to the viewport. All right, now we'll want to select our widget. There it is, morph editor widget. Okay, and let's do a compile. Oops. There we go. Compile, save. All right, so now let's actually set up our camera. So let's go to viewport. I think what I'm going to do is spin Rosa around 180. All right, and then I'm going to move the camera in. So we're going to be looking right at her face. Okay. A little bit more. Let's get right on in there. Okay, perfect. All right, so here's the deal. If we press play, and now we're in game mode, and we press 0 on our keyboard, guess what pops up? Our morph editor. Awesome. We can't do anything with it because as we move our mouse around, we're just moving the figure around. So what we're going to need to do next is get mouse control. So just exit out of that. So let's go back into our event graph. And what we're going to do is right click, get player controller. And from here, we're going to do a set show mouse cursor. Oops, sorry, it's from this. Set show mouse cursor. All right. Go ahead and compile, save. Get into game mode, and there we are. Let's go ahead and press 0. Beautiful. And then still nothing. Oh, because we didn't click. You need to click this. So we want to show the mouse cursor. All right, so let's try that again. All right, and now I click outside, and beautiful. Now I have mouse control. Now what I need to do is lose mouse control. All right, so from our create widget, we're going to come off this and do a remove from parent. And then right in here, we're going to right click and add something that's called a flip flop. Oh, flippy flop. And we're going to go ahead and duplicate this. And then we're going to uncheck show mouse cursor. And do a compile and then a save. Let's enter play mode. There we go. We press 0 on the keyboard. We click outside. All right, and now we click again. We have mouse control. Okay, now we're back in game mode again. So that's exactly what we want. We want to be able to have control, lose control, get back into game mode. And if we press 0, the morph editor goes away. All right, so now let's go ahead and actually create our morph. So we're going to come off, create morph target, and we're going to call a bind event, and we're going to call our excitement. Then we're going to come off this, and we're going to do a custom event. Now what we need to do is create a reference for our mesh, for the skeletal mesh. So we can do that just by coming over here to the components, clicking on it, and dragging it on over. And what we're going to do is come off this. We're going to do a set morph target. Oh, and it's already attaching a mesh to it, so we don't need another one. We'll just drag this thing over a little bit. And let's see here. So that hooks up to that. This is going to hook up to this. What we need to do is type in the morph name. And let's see here. Yeah, we need to bring this on over to here. And I think that's it. So when we press play, we're in the game, we press 0, we click outside, and now when I move our excitement, look, she is super happy. Huh? Who wouldn't be? Look what you just did. You created a morph editor, and you can move your morph in real time. All right. So now that's great, all well and good. Now let's go ahead and add some more morph targets to our setup. So in order to create some more morph targets, what we're going to have to do is actually go back into our morph editor widget and create some more dials and text. All right. So let's grab another slider and let's go ahead and give this the same parameters. So we'll do a top of 25, a left, I think that was 50, and a right of, what was that, 500. That looks good. Let's see, we need to do our styles, so our bar thickness. Whoa, no, wasn't it? What is this guy? 10? All right. And then let's do our slider handle color. And we'll need to name this, but let's go ahead and open up our skeletal mesh. And let's see what name we want to do next. Let's go ahead and do pain. How about that? The House of Pain. So that's going to be slider pain. We'll go ahead and add another text. Give that some padding along the top and to the left. Let's see, what's that, 35. And there we go. Okay, now that takes care of our designer end. Let's come back into the graph. Let's create a new event dispatcher. And this is going to be pain underscore event. We're going to add a new parameter. It's going to be a float again. Call that one pain. All right, now let's do a new on value change. And we're going to do a call to the pain event. Go ahead and hook that up. Now go ahead and do a compile and save. That takes care of our morph editor widget. Now let's get back into our blueprint here. And so now we need to do another bind event. Okay, so we came off of our create morph editor widget for that. And we are going to do a bind event. Pane. Perfect. We'll come off this with another custom event. Set morph target. And let's go ahead and bring this on over. And what you can do is you don't need two meshes. It works just as well off the one. Kind of makes your graph a little more tidy, which is good. Okay, now what we need to do now is this bind event is executed off the set show mouse cursor. So what we need to do is take it down here and hook it up to this guy. But as soon as we do that, we lose it here, okay? And that's because doing an execute can only go to one other item. So we can't have it do two. However, there is a workaround. So let's go ahead and kill this. So Alt, left click, right click, and you're going to add sequencer. Or sequence. There we go. Now a sequence is pretty cool because of what it does is you can add a bunch of pins. So it will take one input with multiple outputs. And then you just start adding more and more, however many you need. So let's go ahead and do a compile, save. Let's enter the game mode. And let's press 0 on our keyboard. Good. Click outside. There's our excitement. Beautiful. Now let's see that we got pain. We do not, because I didn't name it. So, all right. And I think it's going to work a lot better this time. All right. There's excitement. And there's pain. Oh, darn it. See, she was feeling pain for me because I forgot to input that. So isn't that neat? Super cool, super professional. Look at you. You're doing an amazing amount of work inside of Unreal Engine. All right, that's going to do it for our Unreal Engine Masterclass number 1. We did a lot in this series. We have morphs happening on our figure. We have some groom hair. And the most important thing is we have our IKs working on our feet. And that's a huge deal right there. And you can tell that as the figure interacts with the surrounding geometry. So that was a huge fix for us. And you can see that we have that groom hair that just moves around. That's so fantastic. So we got to interact with our figure. We got to activate our morphs. We activated those in our event graph, And we learned how to chain them together. We brought in some helmet hair, which is everybody's favorite kind of hair. And then we got to do the groom hair, which is just, that's just the bomb. We got to play with everyone's favorite, the G81 Fix Rot Zero Root AK Retargeter. Got to work with that one quite a lot. So, yeah, we did it, I'll say. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you learned a lot, there's 2 more series out there for you. All right? So we'll see you next time.